The Bubble Boy is a perfect example of everything that you shouldn't be doing, and yet, first of all, where are we? A Bubble Boy? We're doing an episode about a Bubble Boy. Guys, you know, we used to be about little tiny things. Bubble Boy. So first of all, the whole concept of the episode seemed wrong to me. Then, what do they cast? They cast our writer, John Heyman, who's a 50-year-old guy who sounds like, you know, he sounds like this, and he sounds like a 50-year-old guy, and we're playing Trivial Pursuit, and I just want... This isn't, it's not our show, it's not our show.
I remember a Bubble Boy getting some press at the time, or reading an article about a Bubble Boy, and just even saying the words out loud kind of amused me to some degree, and as horrible as that is.
I loved the Bubble Boy episode. It was one of my favorites. One of my favorite chunks of dialogue is this who's on first sort of dialogue that happens at the beginning of the Bubble Boy.
He's a Bubble Boy!
A Bubble Boy?
Yes, a Bubble Boy.
What's a Bubble Boy?
He lives in a bubble.
Boy.
We did an episode about the Bubble Boy, and the Bubble Boy wasn't treated too well in the episode. So we got a negative response from all the Bubble Boys and their family and friends.
Really wasn't about making fun of anyone. It didn't... see, that was the thing that we would kind of try to do was... the point of the thing was not that this poor kid, in fact, we made him a guy who you wouldn't have sympathy for, and also we didn't see him in the bubble, which would have been said. And I remember Larry being very careful about that, which hadn't even occurred to me.
Once you see the Bubble Boy, it's no longer funny, so you had to keep the Bubble Boy off camera and just hear him. And John Heyman, who was a comedian who was working on the show that year, who was a very sarcastic fellow, and I say that in the best sense of the word. He was the natural choice for the Bubble Boy's voice.
Hi.
Hello.
Who are you? Where's Seinfeld?
He's on his way. These are his friends.
What are you looking at? Never seen a kid in a bubble before?
In your mind, when someone says it's a Bubble Boy, you think about, you know, John Travolta being helpless and soft and sweet, and, you know, John Heyman is none of those things. He's got this gravelly, foul voice, and it was such a surprise to have your expectations dashed by this Bubble Boy. And he'd put on the gloves and he'd, like, wrestle around. It was very funny talking to him as the Bubble Boy, because he's no boy.
What's your story?
I have no story.
She works for NBC.
How about taking your top off?
We had these comedians working for us that year, helping us write, and one of them was Bill Masters. And Bill Masters had a story that he was pitching to us that was not... he didn't realize that he had stumbled onto something brilliant, and he was pitching us the story, and in the middle of that story, he said, and we were playing Trivial Pursuits, and the card was misprinted and it said Moops, and then he continued telling the story and went, whoa, 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 stop right there. That's a great story.
So that really struck me as being very funny, and a great fodder for an argument with the Bubble Boy.
Who invaded Spain in the 8th century?
That's a joke. The Moors.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry, it's the Moops. The correct answer is the Moops.
Moops. Let me see that. That's not Moops, you jerk. It's Moors. It's a misprint.
I'm sorry, the card says Moops. It was another example of just pushing and banging away at that envelope of what's acceptable and how far you could stretch this show and this format and where you could take these characters. And another great example, and there are many, of me wrong, them right. It was an amazing episode.